I'm Holly Harrell, a volunteer and board member at Children's Law Center of Minnesota. Next week, Thursday, October 8th at 7 p.m. is the 25th annual Celebration of Champions annual event, this year virtual. CLC has several exciting live auction items. One of my favorites is a 5-night stay in beautiful ski town Whitefish, Montana, minutes away from gorgeous Glacier National Park and nearby ski slopes. I've stayed here and it was great. Sign up for the auction and event at clcmnyouth.givesmart.com. Don't miss out on soaking up the views of the lake from the 2-bedroom condo and spending the day skiing and warming up by the fire. Bidding starts at $500. Start your bid today. Thanks for your support.
Greetings from 3M's global headquarters. I'm Ivan Fong, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary of 3M. I'm here to wish the Children's Law Center of Minnesota a hearty congratulations for 25 years of making a difference in the lives of so many children in foster care. At any given time, the Children's Law Center is providing the representation to hundreds of foster children in Minnesota, and each of them deserves quality legal representation. By providing them with free legal advice, representation, and services, you not only provide them with a voice, but with hope. And I can say from personal experience that representing a foster child is one of the most rewarding forms of pro bono legal services you can provide. Like the CLC, 3M is also dedicated to improving lives in our communities. For more than 2 decades, we've been honored to support and partner with the Children's Law Center to improve children's lives in Minnesota. We are proud to be a champion sponsor for the CLC's fall event, and we look forward to continuing our long-standing partnership now and into the future.
I think that it is a moral responsibility to provide pro bono services as a lawyer. I really believe that one of the public services that we can provide, even when we're in private practice, is to provide pro bono representation. Jones Day supports CLC both because it embodies Jones Day's commitment to supporting community organizations and because it provides legal services to people who otherwise probably could not afford legal services. These kids just need somebody to speak on their behalf. They just need somebody to give them a little bit of guidance. Oftentimes, I've represented young women and I've represented sibling sets. So working with 2 sisters who are trying to navigate their foster situation and trying to figure out which relative might be a good fit for them and needing somebody to help guide them through that process. It's not a heavy lift to ask somebody, what do you want? And to then go into the courtroom and either articulate it on behalf of your client or help your client articulate that. The CLC provides young lawyers with excellent opportunities to work very directly with their clients and to build connections. So it serves as training, and it also allows Jones Day lawyers to give back. The staff lawyers at CLC are the best. They really, really are. At first, there's a little bit of a learning curve to get up to speed on the laws that govern the foster care process in Minnesota. And the staff is always available for a call to talk through an idea or a problem, to update you on a statute change. They're extremely accessible. They're very professional. They're extremely supportive. I tell people that CLC is a great organization to work with, in large part because the staff is so supportive and helpful, and they know what they're doing. I hope the organization can continue to serve more youth, and I hope that the organization can expand in terms of staff. The staff are so phenomenal, but I do worry about the burden on the staff because the caseload is so significant. We need a robust volunteer force, and we need to serve more youth, especially right now. There are probably a lot of youth who could use CLC's services, and we might not know that those youth do because they're not in schools and they're not in the normal channels by which it would be discovered that they need services. So my hope is that the organization continues to expand and that the organization continues to receive the funding necessary to expand staff.
Good evening. My name is Denise Ronnie, and I'm a partner at Robbins Kaplan and a current board member of the Children's Law Center and a longtime volunteer. CLC's mission and Robbins Kaplan's mission are very aligned, and I think that they work really well together in terms of supporting youth in foster care. The Children's Law Center's mission of amplifying voices for vulnerable youth when they're in these difficult situations in foster care just fits perfectly with Robbins Kaplan's long history of supporting and representing our most vulnerable citizens in our society. Robbins Kaplan has stood with CLC from the beginning, doing everything from providing dozens of volunteers over the years, providing board representation, doing all sorts of like roll up your sleeves type of work, like providing technical support for the gala nearly every year. We've done things like provide a shredder when that was needed. So there's been no call that has come unanswered for the CLC from Robbins Kaplan's side, and we've been doing it for 25 years. Robbins Kaplan is proud to be a champion level sponsor of the 25th anniversary event for the Children's Law Center. We've stood with you for 25 years. We're going to stand with you in the future. Now, more than ever, with all of the world turned upside down, it's so important to support the Children's Law Center. So I hope you enjoy the evening tonight and that you think about volunteering and donating to the Children's Law Center at this really important time.
So United Healthcare is a strong advocate for Children's Law Center. They encourage all of their attorneys to volunteer for Children's Law Center and other similar organizations.
The Children's Law Center has, over the last 25 years, helped thousands of children in need in the courtroom, and they've also been very active in advocating for societal change and legislative change.
The attorneys that volunteer for the Children's Law Center speak up for the children that are otherwise unheard and unseen.
They represent children in foster care who have often been neglected or abused and who are part of the court system through no fault of their own.
A few simple words on behalf of these children in court means the world to them.
United Healthcare is committed to social responsibility and volunteering. We as lawyers have a particular responsibility to the community and to use our education for bettering our community. Our ability and opportunity to work with children and to give them a voice in the courtroom as attorneys and something we can do is very impactful.
In the past, I represented two children, a 10 and 11-year-old child. They were siblings residing with their maternal grandfather. Their mother's parental rights were terminated and their father was incarcerated. We were able to work with the court and to ensure that the grandfather was able to adopt both of these children.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pam Wanzel, the Director of Pro Bono and Community Service at the Frederickson and Byron Law Firm. I want to start out by congratulating Children's Law Center for 25 years of supporting and representing children. I always encourage our lawyers to find projects they are passionate about, and many have chosen to work with Children's Law Center to represent the most vulnerable in our community, children in foster care. Frederickson is proud to support Children's Law Center through this work by providing financial support through our Giving Foundation and by supporting our lawyers who serve on the board. It's all important work, and we couldn't do it without the support of Children's Law Center and its staff. And now I'd like you to hear from one of our volunteers, Joe Cassiope.
Thank you, Pam. As Pam mentioned, my name is Joe Cassiope, and I am a shareholder in the business litigation group at Frederickson and Byron. I first came across CLC when I was a law student at the University of Minnesota Law School, participating in the Child Advocacy Clinic. And right away, I knew it was an organization with which I wanted to partner once I got out into practice. So one of the first things I did when I started at the firm was take a CLC training. And right away after the training, I got my first case. And after that, I was off and running. I've had the unique opportunity over the last 12 plus years now to represent a wide range of youth in foster care. And there have been cases with great outcomes and some cases that have been harder. But what has kept me going even when I've come across those hard cases is the knowledge and the understanding that even when things don't go 100% the way that everyone would want them to go, we've still, through the Children's Law Center, have had the opportunity to provide these youth a voice and zealous advocacy in the proceeding representing them. In the more positive outcome cases, I've had multiple clients who've been adopted, including one who performed the saxophone at a gala a few years ago, CLC gala a few years ago, who was adopted the day before his 18th birthday and was able to establish a longstanding family connection as a result of that. I am a litigator, but I will say that volunteering with CLC is a great opportunity no matter what your practice is. I've had some of my most effective colleagues in children's law center matters have been corporate or transactional lawyers who otherwise do not set foot in a courtroom, but still can do a great job and have done a great job representing CLC clients. It is my great pleasure to congratulate CLC on 25 years, and I look forward to continuing to work with CLC for the next 25 years.
Good evening. My name is Lauren Paco. I am a current Children's Law Center board member and attorney at Taft, Stettinius & Hollister. For many years, our firm has been deeply committed to pro bono service, including representing youth in foster care. And we have taken on over 20 cases from the Children's Law Center of Minnesota, in which we have worked diligently to promote and protect children's rights and advocate for their wishes. As a current board member of the CLC, I can attest to the most important of this work. For some of these kids, their pro bono attorney is the only stable adult in their life and is the only one who can effectively advocate for their needs and goals. Especially now, supporting CLC is more important than ever, as youth in foster care are highly vulnerable to the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and the other crises affecting our nation and our world at large. Because of this, Taft believes it is of the utmost importance to continue our support for the CLC amidst the multiple national and global predicaments we face, and because of the ongoing importance of promoting the rights and interests of Minnesota's children in the judicial, child welfare, healthcare, and education systems. Taft is proud to be a justice sponsor for the 25th anniversary celebration of champions. Thank you for championing the legal rights and well-being of Minnesota's children and youth. If you are an attorney, please consider volunteering with the CLC, as volunteer attorneys are crucial in providing children a voice in judicial proceedings. And of course, to ensure that foster children in our community have their basic needs met, and to continue the success of this wonderful organization, please consider giving today to the Children's Law Center of Minnesota. Thank you for your time and efforts, and please continue enjoying this hope-filled and celebratory evening.
Good evening. COVID-19 has changed everything, as you well know. This is the first virtual event that I've ever hosted, and maybe this is the first virtual event you've ever attended. Now, I know you're probably very used to Zoom by now. You may even have some Zoom fatigue, so we're going to keep this program moving. I am Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, and I am so honored to be here. This is the 25th celebration of champions for the Children's Law Center of Minnesota. And what a powerful time it is to be here. We made it happen. We solved problems, what we've all been doing for the past few months. And we're going to take this time together. We're going to make it fast. We're going to make it impactful. And I want to start by just saying a couple of words. I'm a reporter. I work at WCCO TV as a journalist. And like many of you, I've been submerged in COVID for the past 6 months, studying it. And I'm always trying to find statistics, facts. I wanted to throw two out to you right now that concern children. In Minnesota right now, people of color are 6 times more likely to test positive for COVID-19. Another statistic here, the last numbers from the Department of Education show 25,000 kids in Minnesota didn't have access to internet or devices. And as you know, many of us are doing exclusively distance learning right now. What that means is the trials that the kids we serve here are going through are amplified right now. And your time is such a gift, as your money will be too. I wanted to give you a quick quote from someone I think is arguably an emotional genius that was of our time, Fred Rogers. He said, We live in a world where we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say, it's not my child, my community, not my problem. Then there are those who respond. Those people are my heroes. And you are responding tonight by giving us your time. Our goal is to raise $50,000 to give free legal representation to children who need it. And hopefully we're going to reach it. I got a good feeling. Hopefully you're in your pajamas. Maybe you have a cocktail, a Coca-Cola, a water, whatever your thing is. Enjoy this program because we're going to make it fast. We're going to make it impactful. I want to start tonight by introducing Ann Tyler Gwinzis. She is CLC's managing attorney. She is well known there. She's going to share how CLC operates and why it's so important for youth experiencing foster care to have an attorney by their side, to be their advocate, and has spent her career dedicated to representing youth and coaching and training others specifically in juvenile law. This is the core of why we're all here tonight. Let's all listen in to Ann.
I got interested in representing children in foster care when I was in law school, and I started as a guardian ad litem, and that is a individual who was an area of practice I was interested in. And then when I graduated, I started as a volunteer with Children's Law Center, and I really never left, and then I just sort of came on staff. Children in foster care need legal representation because they have legal rights. We're talking about hearings that involve the life of the child. All these decisions are being made about their lives. They have to be included. They have to be acknowledged. They have to be respected, and they have to be heard. In Minnesota, children are entitled to legal representation. It wasn't until McKenna's Law that children were actually told. The agency is obligated to let a youth 10 and older know that they can have an attorney and they can go to court. And so the result of that was more and more kids were saying, wait a minute, I want a lawyer. My job is not to pass judgment. My job is to let others know what's important to them. Other people will make decisions about what's best or what should happen. That's not our role. And when we speak for that child and let the child know that our loyalty is to them and no one else in that courtroom, that's our goal. I let them know that they get to watch and make sure that I'm doing my job. And we talk about it afterwards. This is what happened. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? Is there something else that I need to tell people? What else can I do? And letting them know that they are the one that controls the narrative is empowering for that youth as well. And these are youth that have gone through horrible, traumatic circumstances in their lives. And sometimes it will take a while for them to trust people and to know that this is an individual that has an attorney-client relationship, that has privilege, cannot speak about that communication without their okay, who believes what they are saying is true, and will listen to them, allow them to feel more comfortable and speak to the court. I have seen circumstances where a youth is in a courtroom, the judge is elevated on the bench and turns to my client and says, "What would you like me to know?" That moment of asking them and giving them the opportunity and the worth of, I am the judge and I want to hear what you have to say, is critically important to kids. I think that helps them understand that what they know and points of view that they have are important. And you can see sometimes that child blossom and really feel that, wait a second, someone's actually paying attention to what I have to say. We represent over 900 youth annually. We cannot do that with our small number of staff attorneys. I like to say we're small but mighty, but we need those volunteers. And the other part about volunteers is when a youth finds out that this individual is donating their time and talents and they're doing it because it's their choice and it's not something they have to do, they understand that this person is really committed to what's happening for them. And that can go a long way for that youth to, again, open up and feel that they can trust this individual and this advocate for them. And we're able to reach more youth when we have the support from the legal community, and we're just grateful for it.
My name is Autumn Tui, and I'm a former client of Children's Law Center. I used to live with my biological parents, and they were addicted to heroin, meth, crack, all that. They couldn't take care of us. I stole food for us. I got us things that we needed, and they did whatever they did. My dad began to be abusive towards me and put his hands on me because I would tell him what he's doing is wrong. And one night I had 2 black eyes, missing hair, and I ran away because I couldn't handle it anymore. When I ran away to a gas station, and they called the cops, and the cops came and they brought me to the hospital to check me out, and they placed me in emergency foster care. I had my first court hearing, and I met my lawyer. She brought me into a room, and I was a little scared because I was 11 and I'd never had an attorney, never been to court, none of that, so I was scared. But she talked to me. She asked me what was going on, and she told me that she was there for me. Not the caseworker was there for me, and my guardian ad litem was there for me, but she was strictly there for me, and she was my voice. And it made me feel more happy and relieved to know that I had someone else. My new family taught me how to be a family and how family's supposed to treat you, and I never had that. Well, right now I work as a receptionist at a car dealership, and me and my boyfriend are trying to get an apartment. I plan on going to college to get my generals done, but I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet for a career. That's kind of up in the air still, but if I didn't have the lawyer I had right now, I wouldn't have graduated high school. I wouldn't have gotten my license. I wouldn't have been in a happy home. I wouldn't have felt loved by anybody. So, I mean, ultimately, it's my attorney who's responsible for everything that's happened, and she did a good job. Now I'd like to introduce you to my lawyer, Executive Director of Children's Law Center of Minnesota, Lilia Pensaleva.
Hello. Welcome, everyone, near and far. Thank you so much for being here. Tonight, we're celebrating 25 years of promoting the rights and interests of Minnesota's children. We're here this evening to celebrate, to thank our amazing volunteers, to honor some real heroes, and to raise money in support of Children's Law Center. During these 25 years, we have provided legal representation to thousands of abused, neglected, and abandoned children. We're actively involved in systemic reforms and educated thousands of people in our community on the unique needs and services of foster care youth. 25 years of positive impacts in the lives of our most vulnerable children and youth, and we could not have done it without you. I am very grateful that you have joined us today. We have an amazing program, which includes our keynote speaker, Patty Wetterling, a client story, and of course, a giving moment, an opportunity for you to support our organization so that we can continue to serve our children in need. We would not be celebrating 25 years this evening without the support of some very generous law firms and corporations. I especially want to thank our champion sponsors, 3M, Jones Day, Robbins Kaplan LLP, United Health Group. Thank you so much. And of course, I would like to thank our board of directors who have distinctly stepped up during this very different year. and the tenacious and committed staff of CLC. COVID-19 has certainly brought us closer together. COVID impacted every human being on this planet, even though the degree to which it impacted everyone varies greatly. For our clients, the most vulnerable children and youth, it added an additional layer of trauma, stress, and confusion. When Minnesota was ordered to stay at home in late March, early April, many of the services our child clients depended on were essentially frozen and unavailable. Imagine you're 12 years old in foster care and now unable to go to school, a safe escape from the abuse, neglect, and trauma. You are now also unable to access therapy, go to your doctor, have visitations with your siblings and family. You are doing it all on Zoom or FaceTime. That is if you're lucky enough to have access to necessary technology and a strong Wi-Fi signal. The unrest following George Floyd's killing brought a lot of fear, stress, and confusion to our child clients, 84% of whom are children of color. They're not certain of their safety, of their future, and are unable to keep up with the rapid changes happening in our country today. During the summer, our clients did not have access to typical outdoor summer activities, interacting with other youth and adults, staying stuck in their placements. The uncertainty of school plans for the fall added an additional layer of stress to already confusing life, not knowing if they will ever be reunified with their parents, and if not, where they would end up. Now imagine being one of those scared young boys, girls, and youth going through this global pandemic, often alone. This year, our services have proven to be more critical than ever before. While the courts were trying to figure out how to continue with the child protection matters, our staff attorneys adapted to virtual court hearings and reviews and have taken over most court appearances on behalf of our volunteer attorneys. CLC staff has been working from home with limited technology, continuing to serve our clients and volunteer attorneys. I am humble and always very grateful and appreciative of all CLC staff, all of whom work hard to ensure continuity in the high-quality representation we strive to provide for our clients. It hasn't been easy. As one volunteer attorney once shared, kids need people to advocate for them in a system that talks about them and around them. That is what we have done for 25 years. We are those people. And today, we're celebrating Children's Law Center's 25th anniversary. Since its inception, the center provided direct legal representation to nearly 4,000 abused and neglected children and youth. We recruited, trained, and supported over 1,000 volunteer attorneys, without whom we could not have reached this many child clients. In addition to direct legal representation, CLC established itself as the subject matter expert in child representation and often presents to statewide stakeholders in child protection, serves on the Juvenile Rules Committee, is asked to participate in amicus briefs, and has led or supported many legislative changes affecting the lives of Minnesota's children. Tonight, we're thrilled to hand over the proverbial mic to Patty Wetterling. As many of you know, Patty is a national advocate for children's safety since experiencing the devastation of losing her son, Jacob Wetterling. Patty is a longtime supporter of CLC. Please welcome Patty Wetterling. Thank you, Patty. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here with the Minnesota Children's Law Center's annual event. We hope you'll feel everyone's gratitude and hope on this evening of honoring, celebrating, and generous giving to this amazing organization. I'm Patty Wetterling, Jacob's mom. Those values. One story I've never shared publicly was when I was in my freshman year in college. My brother and his friends got into a little bit of trouble, and one of his friends borrowed his father's car and drove over to our house, and the kids, teenage 13, started driving the car. They'd take turns driving around the block till a neighbor reported there's something going on here. So they called the police. And in the process of answering to the police, one of my brother's friends' mom was deemed to not be capable of caring for her children. So the courts were taking these children away, and my parents stepped up and became foster parents to two young boys. So suddenly I'd go home from college and there was an 8-year-old playing hockey in our living room, and it was a whole new world. I didn't experience the court drama and whatever, but I did see the trauma that these kids were going through and the many challenges they had of uprooting and moving in and not really being part of our family, although we wanted them to be, and all of the changes that accompanied that, and then not knowing when would they go back home, if they could go back home, and all of those challenges that many of your clients have to deal with on a regular basis. I also had a babysitter who I found out came from a very troubled family, and she ended up going from foster home to foster home until she turned 18, and we brought her back with us because I wasn't licensed foster care, but we adopted her at that point. So I understand some of the kids' point of view, and I think it's so important that as we view the work here, that we keep in mind that these are children, and they have very childlike dreams like the rest of our kids. I serve on the board for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and it wasn't until 2014 that kids missing from care, foster homes or group homes, were ever reported as missing. They would just wander off and nobody was looking for them. That's phenomenal. So that law has been changed, and now they're mandated to report so that law enforcement can get involved in the search for these kids and get them off the streets into a safer place quickly. That's good news. We can do better. 31 years ago, I was lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom and was super involved with my kids with basketball and soccer and dance and Girl Scouts and gymnastics, all of the things that the kids can be involved with. And my life was turned really upside down when Jacob was abducted by a masked man in our little town of St. Joseph. And we got a lot of attention for it because of the way the community responded. They collectively stood up and said, no, you can't harm our children, not one of them. And that response was what gave law enforcement the extra push, and it gave the entire state an opportunity to talk about some tough issues. During my first interviews with the FBI and the Sheriff's Department, they asked us, is there anybody who liked Jacob too much, wanted to take him places, do things with him? And then they told us that the motive behind kidnapping is usually for sexual purposes. And I said, what? Who would do that? I couldn't even imagine. It was out of my realm of consciousness that anybody could sexually harm a child, an 11-year-old boy. What is going on here? And we fought against all kinds of exploitation of children. And over the years, the number of missing children hasn't changed much. It's been a pretty consistent number, but the number of kids that are exploited, sexually exploited, has grown exponentially. So there's a lot of work yet to be done. One of the things that happened is that Jacob's story gave other kids permission to come forward and share their story. So I got barraged with letters from children, and they were amazing. It was, dear Mrs. Wetterling, when I was 4, I was molested by my babysitter. Dear Mrs. Wetterling, yesterday in school, we discussed your proposal that requires child molesters and kidnappers to report their addresses after they're released from prison. I feel very strongly about this for 2 reasons. First, because I was a victim of sexual abuse on 2 occasions. Second, because I'm 13. She was Jacob's age at that time. Dear Mrs. Wetterling, why didn't people make a big deal about this before Jacob was taken? Why does it always take another kid? I love that. That energy of absolute caring and need to do something we have to keep, because that's what's going to build that world where kids can grow up safe. I became aware of this river of victims that I didn't know existed, and I knew then that this journey was way bigger than just Jacob. Jacob has a very strong energy, and a drive for that world. He represents an innocence that we need to get back for children. You know, we have a lot of choices in our lives. Something we'd have no choice over is who we're born to. Who are our parents? Where were we born? Do we have money or not? There's a lot of things that these kids are a victim of that they have no say over. My first year teaching, I taught in Southern Maryland, and it was a school for high school dropouts. And these kids, a lot of people had given up on. They came to us from the juvenile court, were suddenly hit with court. 5 days after he was found, we were to be appearing in court, and I had no knowledge of a courtroom. I had zero understanding. It was like being dropped in on a foreign planet. I didn't know the language. I didn't know the process. I didn't know the protocol. I didn't know who we were supposed to talk to and who we couldn't. It was absolutely a nightmare, and I can't imagine what it's like to be 10 years old and to be thrown into a need to go to court. That's what this organization does. The Children's Law Center provides these kids a guide and a mentor and somebody who's going to be there and allow these kids to have a voice in the process. It's so incredibly important because the challenge with children and courts are complex. And I didn't understand the process as an adult. They need all the help they can get. There are kids who've already been traumatized, and going to court is going to add another layer. I actually worked with some families where a juvenile he didn't have a guide. He didn't have any support when he went to court, and he got involved with a younger girl, and he was charged as a sex offender. And he was told in court, if you just plead guilty, you will not have to go to jail. You'll just have to be a registered sex offender. And he had no advocate for him, so he did. He's a lifetime sex offender. He's 16 years old, doing what a lot of 16-year-olds do. And the consequences were really dire. A lot of kids who do not have representation have really bad outcomes when they get to court. Children have the right to be represented. And COVID, this world we live in, makes everything worse. Many kids are forced to stay at home where home isn't safe. Maybe the perpetrator is at home or a neighbor, and the one safe place is school, and many of them are not allowed to go to school and get the support, have the guidance counselors, have a place to be safe and to share what their life experiences are. Plus, the kids that are awaiting court often get further delays, and it's just additional trauma. The work here reminded me of a story. This tribe in Africa, it was called the Mighty Maasai, and they were considered to have warriors that were more fearsome and more intelligent than all others. So it was interesting to read that their one greeting that they have translated is, "And how are the children?" It's still the traditional greeting of the Maasai, acknowledging the high value that they place on children's well-being. Even warriors with no children would answer the traditional answer, "All the children are well." This meant, of course, that peace and joy and prosperity prevail, and that priorities of protecting the young are in place, and that the Maasai people had not forgotten their reason for being, their proper function, and their responsibilities to children. All the children are well means life is good. It means the daily struggles of existence, even among poor people, including the proper care of the young and the defenseless. When Jacob was found, he was wearing his number 11 soccer jersey. And one of my friends at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children had a nephew who wanted to put 11 on his soccer jersey for a tournament that weekend. So our office put together the 11 attributes that represented the world that Jacob knew, and the way we often tell kids what not to do, and don't do this, and don't post pictures and all that, but what do we want them to do? How do we teach them the world that can be better? And I believe that if we were all to strive for these 11 things, that we could build that world that's better and safer and more caring for everyone. And they are. Be fair. Jacob had a really strong sense of fairness. Be kind. Be understanding. Be honest. Be thankful. Be a good sport. Be a good friend. Be joyful. Be generous. Be gentle with others and be positive. I've gone to many schools around the state, and kids would make posters and flyers, and they'd be in the gym as I was presenting when you could still gather in gyms. And one school had this blue poster in the back, and it had brown lettering. It kind of looked a little messy until I got up close, and they had written, "Be gentle with others," in Band-Aids. Kids get it. They understand this message. They understand the caring that we need to encourage in today's world. Tonight, we're talking about being generous. Children's Law Center of Minnesota is vital to ensuring that all children are well. The children are well. Please make a gift to support the lives and bright futures of Minnesota's most vulnerable children and youth. Thank you for being part of this amazing evening, and together we can build a world that's worthy of its children. Thank you.
My mom and dad had a big fight because they were arguing. My mom almost stabbed my dad with a knife. It was pretty surreal for me because I was like, what do I do in this situation?
Both Mariah's mom and dad struggled with chemical dependency addiction, led to other things such as just general neglect and not following through on their basic needs.
I go through more than an average 30-year-old would go through in a lifetime. It kind of sucks.
It was hard because you watch the kids suffer. They were put into 4 other foster homes. In the end, the last place that they came to was here. Emotionally, they were a mess.
What my grandma told me is that like you get a lawyer at like 10 years old because I can't really speak for myself.
We step foot in their lives, sometimes for 6 months to a year, yet we're making decisions that impact their entire future. And I think it's really important to give them that power to feel like they can make a fair decision and understand what is going on.
So then I realized I had a lawyer and she'd speak on my behalf, so I was kind of happy.
Judges are having to make big, tough decisions with sometimes very little information. At the end of the day, it's just presenting additional information that might otherwise not come out.
I'd give her letters to read out to the court, to like read to my mom.
Dear Mom, I'm getting sick of what you're doing to yourself. It's going to kill you. I'm so scared to one day get a call that my mom died. It's so scary to know that I could never see my mom again. It's so hard to think that my mom is not going to work hard or get better help soon. You need to get better and have a good home, a job, and make money to support yourself and all 3 of your kids. You need a safe and sober environment and people you can trust and sober support.
And I felt maybe if she heard me speak, it would tell her inside the mind, wake up, your kids need you. But that's not what happened.
Her mom kind of dragged it out and was going to take it to trial. Mariah was, oh my gosh, what if the judge, sides with my mom and I have to leave my grandma? And then when I called her after one of the last court hearings of saying, hey, your mom has agreed that, your grandma is your best place for you, that she acknowledges that she's struggling with her own chemical dependency issues and that you are going to stay with grandma. And I could just sense that kind of relief.
Living with my grandma is amazing. She's gave me an opportunity at life. Before I really didn't have one. I'd probably end up like my mom. And I do not want that for myself.
Since they've been here, I've seen Mariah, she has really grown, like tremendously grown. She can be a free bird, she can be herself, and there's no worries.
When I'm with my grandma, the only time I'm crying is when I'm laughing, crying.
There's so many things I could say about Mariah. She's funny, she's very intelligent, she's very sincere, helpful, very warm, loving, caring. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on. Just really a beautiful child.
Mariah has experienced a lot in her short life and will continue to know that the 2 of them have such a bond and can kind of make it through those tough times is what makes me very happy and excited for the future.
I feel like every kid should be able to have their voice heard and have someone that they can trust and help with their feelings.
I think that's the part that I enjoy about being a lawyer, is giving our clients the opportunity to feel empowered, to feel like their voice
is very important and ultimately is sometimes, you know, a deciding factor for a judge.
Is that the video after the yours?
Hey, you guys ready?
Yes. We are back here live in downtown Minneapolis and just so inspired by Mariah's story. What a tenacious child, and hearing the way her grandmother was such an advocate for her. That is so key to the work here at CLC, having an adult, having a stable adult for their health, for their education, for their happiness. And tonight we're going to try to earn $5,000. 5,000, no, 10 times that. We're going to go for $50,000 here tonight. That's what we're looking at. And I want to give you a quick quote here by Charles Dickens. He says, "When a purse is emptied, a heart is filled." So we're going to start our Fund the Need right now. Amanda Finman-Palmer joining us with CLC.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
I know this is your passion. You're so into this. And we're going to start at the top right now. We're going to start with a $5,000 Fund a Need. That provides funds to represent a family of 5 siblings for a full year.
So it really provides free pro bono representation to children who are in foster care by no fault of their own, so that they have a voice in that courtroom and through the very complicated process. So that $5,000 is a tremendous gift. So really, thank you so much for those out there who are making gifts right now. I know they're coming in. So we're trying to get them in and track them as quickly as possible. But as you know, this is new to everyone. I do want to say just a big thank you to Thad Johnson for a $5,000 gift and Payman Pesman for another $5,000 gift. Your gifts are just tremendous.
That's amazing. That's so generous. And it's so tangible what happens with this money. Let's go to $4,000 now. Tell us what $4,000 provides for these kids.
One of the things that is so important for $4,000 is that it provides training and support to almost 150 new volunteer attorneys. And Children's Law Center actually has a cohort of 340 pro bono attorneys from across the Twin Cities who represent these kids free of cost. And it makes our work happen because we only have 11 staff, so we have 4 attorneys. And so they are really out there doing the work, going in the courtroom, getting to know these kids like Mariah and making sure that they get what they need. So $4,000 is tremendous. So please consider making a tremendous gift of $4,000.
And $3,000 too. Let's talk about that real quick. It provides the capacity to increase outreach and educate youth about their legal rights and resources. And we know knowledge is power. That's huge, Amanda.
It's absolutely huge. And so what Children's Law Center is about, so we also do systemic advocacy. So making sure that the laws are in place to support these kids. So for instance, there's a law now that says that kids have to be told that they have a right to representation. And then our attorneys make sure that all of their rights are upheld, including staying with siblings or staying in a school. So all of these things really help with stability and their long-term futures. And I just want to give a really great shout out to our board president, Michelle Grant, has made a gift of $3,000. Thank you, Michelle. You are absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. So before we get to the next level, I want to announce something that is really exciting and new this year for us.
Yeah.
So many of you might know that the Richard M. Schultz Family Foundation is very involved in Minnesota. Richard Schultz is a retired president of the U of M. And it's just an incredibly philanthropic foundation. And they have granted us an $8,000 challenge grant for tonight. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
So if you are a new donor and you give $50, it will be matched. So if you're a new donor, your gift will be matched up to that $8,000. If you have not given to Children's Law Center in a couple years, your gift will be matched. And then if you are a current donor who has been generous for many years, if you increase that gift at any amount, that amount will be increased. So will be matched for the challenge grant. So just think about that you're making an even greater impact than you possibly could imagine. So your dollars are going further. So it would be just fabulous if you all would help us unlock these. It's an all or nothing situation. So we have to have that $8,000. So that's very important.
And you said even 50 in any donation.
Any increment, any level under those criteria that I mentioned.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's just.
And we know another powerful price point here is $2,000 that provides training for more than 70 new volunteer attorneys and increases outreach dollars to provide youth who are at risk. So again, the attorneys are the bread and butter of this operation. We couldn't do it without them. They're taking their time. They already have other jobs.
Right.
So this is a big deal. So you want good, concise training, and this is a good way to help provide that.
Yes, and in this time of COVID, there's definitely a need for more training to support our volunteer attorneys on how does court work by Zoom and text and all of these different things that we're all facing. The courts are facing that as well, which means our kids are facing that as well. And so it's really about improving the lives of kids through these volunteers. So $2,000 is just a wonderful transformative gift. So thank you so much for considering. I know that we're still waiting for gifts to come in because technology takes a couple minutes. So
I bet we got some. I bet they're on the way.
I'm sure we have a couple out there. We'll be really excited to see.
$1,000 is always really popular. This is my third year I'm seeing. It's always a really popular price point.
Yes.
It's very concise. Basically, $1,000 covers representation for a child for 1 year. And as we talked about at the beginning with COVID, the disadvantages these kids have are at a fever pitch right now. So that $1,000 could be a game changer.
Yeah, so we provide free legal representation to almost 900 youth a year. And so that amounts to almost $3 million of pro bono services for these kids to make sure that they get to where they need to be. And it is just, so $1,000 is really a huge, huge gift for these kids. So I have some shout outs for $1,000 gifts. So if you'll hang with me, Larry Espel gave $1,000.
Thank you, Larry.
Thomas Merrick gave $1,000.
Thank you, Tom.
James Lockhart gave $1,000.
James,
so we
love it.
Just so many generous people.
I love it.
Holly Harrell, also $1,000.
Thank you, Holly.
Alana Rindal gave $1,000.
Wow.
This is just incredible generosity. So we have more names, so I'm going to share some more.
Sure.
Amy Conway, Zeke Johnson, Tony Zuli, Ann Novacek, Tom Tinkham, and Warren and Rona Palmer.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you to each of you.
Yeah, just incredible.
It is incredible. And with COVID, everybody's comfortable with different price points right now. If you want to do something a little bit lower, if you want to go $250, that covers a full day of court hearings. So that is very key, the $250 donation right there.
Yes, and $500 puts an attorney in the courtroom for 6 months. And so that $500 gift is also really incredible. And we have some shout outs. So I will share some with you.
Love it.
Michelle Fisher did $500. Mike and Kelly Mahler did $500.
Thank you, guys.
Sonny Miller did $500. We have Aaron Sinberg Porter for $500, and then Perry Height for $500. So those are all wonderful. And so if those are new or if those are an increase, then those are definitely going to be helping us towards this challenge. Maybe we'll meet it tonight.
Oh, good.
And then we have $500 from retired Supreme Court Justice Kathleen Blatz. So I'm sure many of you know her out there and all of her work.
Wonderful. And then 250 too. I'm sure we
And 250
got stuff rolling in. And also too, I know another really popular price point is 100. We always get that. It basically gets us closer and closer to our match. And I know every year I'm here, people are just throwing out those 100s. And
and $100
we need that tonight.
is really helpful to us. So we're a small organization. So really any donation, whether it's $100, $50, $500, any of those levels of donations are really incredible.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we want to thank everyone for their generosity. And now we're going to kind of mix it up a little bit. We're going to go into our auction part of the evening. And they are numbered 101 through 107 on the Give Smart site. We've got an hour until the auction items close, right?
Correct. So auction closes at 8:30. So if you are getting excited about an item, be sure to not be outbid.
Got it. Got it. And we have lots of exciting items tonight from all different groups here. Let's start with wine. Why not, right? I mean, hopefully nobody has to drive tonight. Maybe they're enjoying a glass right now.
Right.
But if you want to kind of pump up that collection, we're going to tell you about this one. It's 104, the first auction item. It's a board curated wine collection. Whether you're looking to start a collection or add to your existing collection, this is an item for you. Not only will you have more than 70 diverse bottles of wine to bring to your home, you'll also receive a gift certificate to Morelli's donated by a board member. And trust me, there are quite a few premium bottles, like $60, $70 bottles of wine, much nicer than I'm used to, but it sounds awesome, right?
Yes, so there are 70 plus bottles of wine and they kind of span the range and they're absolutely a great collection. So the current bid for this collection is $1,140. So if you're interested, get your bid in, get that up. Maybe we can get that up to $1,200 by the end
that's
of
fair.
this. Yeah.
I mean, that's a deal too.
That's absolutely a deal.
Well, our next item's really neat too. It's a 5-night stay in Montana, in Whitefish, Montana. It's item 102. It's a condo set within the hillside condominium community, gorgeous shores of Whitefish Lake, 15 minutes from the mountain resort there, then 25 minutes to get this, the premier attraction in the area. I'm told this place is like heaven on earth. Glacier National Park. You can soak in views of the lake. I know. Get there right now in your mind. We all need this. 2-bedroom condo. There's a fireplace. There's a hot tub in the community. They've got COVID protocols in place if you're worried about that. The stay is from January 4th through May 15th. And it's just the perfect getaway. Again, it's 5 nights, Whitefish, Montana. Any traction on that?
So I'm a little tempted here, but it's creeping up and it's at $1,020.
Okay.
So if you want to get a bid in, I mean, doesn't that sound, instead of just sitting and dreaming about the vacations we could have, you can actually have one in beautiful Whitefish, Montana, which I'm sure we would all love to be right now.
Yes, that sounds amazing. Good deal too. Good price point there. Our next item is a unique opportunity for you and 3 of your colleagues to have lunch with Todd Hartman, General Counsel and Chief Risk Compliance Officer for Best Buy, huge company here. They're doing really well. It'd be great to get that insight. That's item number 103. You could share lunch and conversation with Mr. Hartman, and up to 3 of your colleagues can come with you. Dr. Hartman has graciously offered to make an opening in his calendar during this challenging time for the highest bidder. All proceeds will go to CLC. Straight up money just goes right to you guys, right? Yeah. The board development committee chair generously made this connection for us. We want to thank Perry specifically for making this connection. An incredible chance to network.
Yes, it's an incredible chance to network. And I know that these lunches with general counsels are very popular with our attorneys. So get your bid in. It is currently at $500. So you definitely have some room to wiggle around and maybe outbid a fellow colleague.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about for you. This is item 105. It includes an autographed king room at Hotel Emory, downtown Minneapolis. This was donated by Merton and Gold. The package also includes 2 passes to the Walker Arts Center, one of my favorite places in this entire state. I love that place. 3 bottles of Italian wine donated by
the Rulin family. Yes.
The Rulin family. Thank you so much. A $50 gift card to a restaurant near the hotel. It sounds like a great getaway for parents, maybe. You want to get a sitter overnight. Just very manageable, just one night. And it's just a great way to get away but not commit to going on a vacation. Any bidders?
There are some bids, and we're at $260. So if you are interested in this lovely staycation,
that's a steal.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely a steal, and it's, you know, you get to be a little bit of a tourist in your own town.
Yeah, I know, and a lot of us don't do that enough. Item 101 is the rye and whiskey basket. It's a basket that was donated by the Rulin family in recognition of the folks out there who enjoy a good whiskey. And maybe some of you guys are enjoying one now, because again, you don't have to drive, you're home, you're in your pajamas, your dog's with you, hopefully, or your cat. Love it. This item includes 3 distinct bottles of whiskey and cigars.
So a very nice package, and it's currently going for $150. So get your bids in before 8:30.
Okay. And then if you've been with us before, you know, every year, it's one of my favorite things, the CLC staff, you guys put a basket together. This one is phenomenal. Item 106, it's themed for a family fun night. It's perfect for these times. Includes a handmade quilt, 2 soup koozies, a $20 gift certificate to Papa Murphy's, a brand new popcorn popper and popcorn, board game titled
Pandemic.
Perfect. Love it.
We couldn't help ourselves.
You couldn't help it. It was spot on. For the movie buffs, a $30 Netflix gift card to watch your favorite movie, candy, cookies for snack night. We've also got wine, Moscow Mules, cups to serve it in, San Pellegrino, juice for the kids. Again, the whole family is covered here. All this in addition to the most famous item I think there is.
Wheaties bourbon balls, and these are strong bourbon balls. I've had them myself.
And Rita works in the office, right?
She is. She's one of our social workers. She's been around for many. She's an expert with these kids. So.
And I've heard generously donated a 2-hour. Their in-house diversity consultants. This couldn't be a more timely and important subject to cover right now. Sybil Dunlop and Jenny Gassman Pines, these nationally recognized leaders are going to cover workplace bias, how to promote conscious inclusion in the workplace, and improving how you provide feedback in a robust 2-hour session for up to 150 of your employees. You'll have the option to do this virtually, or you can do it socially distanced if circumstances permit at the Green Espos office in downtown Minneapolis, or you can do it anywhere within 10 minutes. We want to thank the board member, Holly Horrell, for securing this donation. Again, there are fewer things more important. It's the most important discussion we could be having right now.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of employers are looking for something like this. So if you are one of those, and the current bid is $200. So it's definitely a good deal for this type of training.
Okay. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
This is good stuff here. We know everybody's generosity is just inspiring right now. And we want to thank the volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely. So your generosity just is absolutely inspiring for the CLC community. We've just been overwhelmed with all the gifts, pledges, the silent auction items, and just the support that has been outpouring from the community. And I want to say that our current donation, so again, our goal is 50,000, and we are currently at 43,000.
Okay, we're almost there.
$960.
That's
so
wonderful.
We are less, if my math correct, is less than 7,000. Basically, let's call it 6. We're $6,000 away. So can you help us do that in the next, 15 minutes to get us to 50,000 and help us get to that challenge grant? I do want to take a moment to just say thank you to our CLC volunteers. As I mentioned before, they are just so generous with their time, and they are always asking, what else can I do? What else can I do? How can I help? And in fact, during COVID, we've had some unusual situations, so we haven't been able to do active trainings for new volunteers, but 29 of our current volunteers said, yes, I will take on another case. I will support, I will take on another child during this challenging time, whether it's FaceTime or Zoom and all of those. And so thank you. And if you are watching as a volunteer, please say hello in the YouTube. We would love to recognize you. Now, as you all know, as we always do every year, it's time to announce and honor some of the heroes in our community. And we have some really wonderful folks that we have the chance to recognize tonight. And I think we can all use a little bit of joy in our lives. And these people just bring so much to their community.
Absolutely. Lots of inspiration.
Yes.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank
joining
you
us.
for having
And we'll
me.
talk about the awards here for you guys. This is given annually. This is the Heroes for Children Award. It's given to an individual or a group that has made a significant contribution to the well-being of Minnesota's children. They either are in a career or a volunteer position, just depends. This year, Children's Law Center is proud to present our Heroes for Children Award to Carmen Foster. Carmen Foster was driven by her passion for the African American community in Minneapolis when she developed and co-founded Rebound. Rebound Inc. was founded in 2014 under Mrs. Foster's leadership. Rebound has opened 3 group homes for youth in the juvenile justice system, child protection, or mental health court systems. They started a mentorship program for youth on probation in Hennepin County. It was a program to prevent 8 to 12-year-old boys in North Minneapolis from entering the justice system by supporting the families, facilitating a curriculum that helps parents through trauma. Her drive and creativity have been necessary combination for Rebound to grow from nothing to more than $1 million, nothing to $1 million. And that is just in its first 3 years of providing services. Carmen's nomination letter shared that Carmen was raised with high expectations and in turn has them for herself and others around her. Her quiet demeanor, her ability to find creative solutions, and her drive to succeed and to improve her community are all direct results from her upbringing and environment. The community is better because she is in it. She truly is a hero for children. Let's look at the slide right there and congratulate Carmen for that amazing award. Now, the Children's Law Center annually identifies one law firm or corporation whose work on behalf of CLC exemplifies the commitment and dedication to this important pro bono work. It's a foundation. It's part of the mission here. This year, Children's Law Center is pleased to present 3M with the Distinguished Service Award. Over the years, countless attorneys from 3M have partnered with CLC to provide quality legal representation to our growing number of children who are clients. 3M's lawyers are zealous advocates, ensuring that CLC's clients' voices are heard, that they maintain contact with their siblings. That's huge. Preventing unwarranted movements between placements and fighting aggressively in court for what these clients want. Lisa Fulton, former president of the board and current CLC volunteer, has made a tremendous impact on CLC, including focusing legal representation for Ramsey County clients. Lisa has been an ambassador among 3M attorneys and recruited volunteer attorneys for the CLC. Now, 3M also offers pro bono resources for nonprofits, and CLC has had the opportunity to receive marketing, human resources, and finance guidance from 3M. The late Anne Marie Henrahan, former CLC volunteer attorney, took a client's case to the Court of Appeals. She was a 3M attorney, and this was in partnership with Dorsey and Whitney. They went to the Court of Appeals twice, and they won. Her client, Nina Boswell, was 15 and set to be expelled from high school when she asked for a lawyer. Ms. Hanrahan brought Boswell's case twice to the Minnesota Court of Appeals, winning a decision that protects students from being expelled without sufficient notice and explanation. Lilia Pantsaliva shared this at the time. You talk about changing lives. This is now precedent in Minnesota. Beautiful legacy there. CLC is extremely grateful to 3M for helping us achieve our goal in giving children in foster care a voice in the system that affects their lives, from achieving a law that protects students from expulsion without sufficient notice to fighting for our clients' rights every day, and just generally supporting CLC through grants, sponsorships, and donations. Thank you, 3M, and congratulations on this award. Now, the Children's Law Center Rosalie Wall Justice Children's Award is presented annually to an individual who has dedicated his or her life to fighting for justice for at-risk or underprivileged children in our communities. The late Honorable Rosalie Wall earned a reputation as a voice for those living on the edges of society, the poor, the accused, the powerless. Well, tonight we honor Judy Nord for her many years of dedicated work on behalf of Minnesota's foster care children. Judy has served as a staff attorney with the Minnesota State Court Administrator's Office since 1995. Judy Nord was dedicated her 30-year career to increasing the safety and well-being of Minnesota's at-risk foster youth in Minnesota. Judy is perhaps best known for her 25 years of service in the Minnesota's judicial branch's Children's Justice Initiative. Under the leadership of Chief Justice Kathleen Blatz, Judy helped establish and continues to serve as staff attorney for the Children's Justice Initiative. The Children's Justice Initiative began in 2000 and will celebrate its 20th anniversary in December 2020, coming up here. The overall objective of the CGI is to find safe, stable, permanent homes for abused and neglected children, first through reunification with the child's parent, if that is safe, or if that's not safe, through another permanent placement option, and to improve a child's well-being. When identifying and implementing improvements, the goal is for all stakeholders to operate through the eyes of the child. Judy's nomination letter noted, Judy is kind, funny, and always willing to listen to questions or concerns regarding Minnesota's foster care youth. While Judy does not seek recognition at all for her commitment on behalf of Minnesota's at-risk and foster care youth, it is time for her years of remarkable work for these children to be acknowledged. We want to congratulate Judy.
It is an honor to wrap up the fantastic evening, the 25th annual Celebration of Champions virtual event. I'm Michelle Grant, and I serve as chair of the Children's Law Center Board of Directors. I've been representing youth in foster care since 2002 because I strongly believe that everyone deserves a voice in the courtroom. As a volunteer attorney, it is rewarding to help children navigate a complicated system and empower them to speak up for what they want. But the most rewarding part is connecting with our next generation, just being a mentor and a stable adult in their lives. To all the supporters watching, thank you again for being here in the unusual circumstances of 2020. I speak for my fellow board members, CLC staff, and volunteers in sharing our deep gratitude for your generous gifts tonight. Your donations and advocacy are needed now more than ever. Thank you again to this evening's superstar sponsors, 3M, Jones Day, Robbins Kaplan, United Health Group, Taft, Frederickson, and so many more. The 25th annual CLC virtual event has been an outstanding success because of you. Special recognition to Mariah for bravely sharing her homecoming story, and to Autumn for sharing how CLC transformed her life. As Patty says, it is our responsibility to improve the lives of children. Let's work together to create a better future for all children. And hopefully next year, we can celebrate in person once again. Thank you everyone for your outstanding support of Children's Law Center over the years. We really appreciate your support. Thank you once again, and have a good evening.
I've got some great news. I just got alerted here that our total is $50,250. So we have met our goal. We want to thank every single one of you tonight. I know that you've been staring at screens a lot, and we appreciate your patience with us. But so such a special evening, and we thank you for giving from your heart. Patty Wetterling's heartfelt keynote speech, you sharing their personal stories. Always love hearing from them, and inspiring leaders committed to just providing support and improving lives of Minnesota's kids. We want to congratulate the awardees this year again, 3M, Judy Nord, Carmen Foster. What an honor to recognize you tonight, and thank you for what you do for the youth of Minnesota. And now, what you've been waiting for, we're going to have the total again. Let's see, 50,250 and climbing. And climbing. Okay, I'm going to have another number here too. But we have met this goal because of you tonight. We want to remind you really quickly that there is a silent auction. It closes at 8:30. Make sure you check that out. If you have any questions regarding the checkout, the pledge, any of this technology stuff, no problem right there. You can contact the CLC using the information on the screen right there. Auction item pickup for larger items will be Monday, October 12th, 2020 at CLC's office. And I want to leave you here in our last minute with a quote from Maya Angelou. Hope is born again in the faces of our children. And you are supporting those children. Again, $50,000 raised tonight because of you, for the best of reasons. Thank you for celebrating 25 years of the Children's Law Center of Minnesota. Good night.